Hello everyone, my name is Giovanna Zandomenighi. This is my video for SOP 3742 class during summer 2021. Today we're going to be analyzing and discussing an article, which is also an essay from the New York Times. The essay is called "As a Doctor, I Have Worked Tirelessly Through the Pandemic That Hasn't Stopped the Hate." This article was posted on May 21 of 2021 and was writing by Chaya Bhuvaneswar, which is a psychiatrist and the author of Why Dancing Elephants, a set of short stories reporting his experience working as a doctor, working as an American Asian doctor. And this article begins saying with a story that happened on April of 2020 in the hospital in Boston, where the Dr. Bhuvaneswar works. She was working tireless hours away from her family because it was during the pandemic, and a man walked toward her and spit on her face. Suddenly, he spit on her face. After doing this, he told her that although she was working and trying to save lives, it was because of her race that today this country was facing this terrible problem with the COVID-19, right? So Asians were guilty for the presence of the COVID-19 in the United States. Um, Along with the article, she mentioned different things that she had to face in her life as a professional, just because she's a woman and because she's an Asian doctor. Um, uh, After the incident, the doctor, she didn't say anything. She walked towards the bathroom where she cleaned herself and she returned to her daily routine. She explained that as a doctor, you need to learn how to overcome certain challenges in life. And having this man spitting on her face was definitely one of the biggest challenges that she had to face. In order to discuss about the article comparing to the content that we learned from the textbook, we're gonna approach two chapters. The first one is chapter number 2, which talks about power and privilege, focusing on microaggression and racialized sexist stereotypes. And the second chapter is chapter 10, which talks about work, with the two main topics being gender discrimination at work and a style revolution. So chapter 2, power and privilege, we're going to start talking about microaggression. So as this slide says, microaggression are everyday acts of sexism, whether intentional or unintentional, that demean or insult a person based on their social group. So microaggression is actions of aggression that is hidden. Those aggressions are hidden behind jokes, simple jokes that you can do towards your friend without the intention of hurting this friend. Microaggression can also be hidden behind the action of ignoring someone, of not believing on what this person has to say, of not believing on this person's potential because of the social group that this person belongs to. Um, in the case of this doctor, she has definitely faced microaggression during the whole experience of working as a doctor. She mentioned in the article that while she was studying in the university to become a doctor, she faced microaggression almost every day from her classmates. And those classmates, they were not even trying to hurt her, right? So this is an example of a unintentional microaggression. In case of Dr. Bhuvaneswar, she faces microaggression in two different types: a racial microaggression because she's an Asian doctor working, and a gender microaggression because she's a woman. Um, Another topic to be discussed is the racialized sexist stereotypes. So when we think about games, right, Asian games that involves Asian characters or Asian cartoons, it's really easy to see the image, a unique image of a Asian woman being strongly sexualized and seen as an object that will deliver pleasure to men. Um, if you also think about movies or TV shows, we see Asian woman as this polite woman, always following rules, for many times being submissive, well behaved, an ideal type of Asian woman that we create in our mind based on the experience that we have, especially from the media. Um, in the case of the article, Dr. Buon's work did not exactly mention any sexual assault that was made towards her. However, what she faced, right, the lack of recognition and respect that she faces every day in her life as a woman and as an Asian doctor is definitely a consequence of this phenomenon of the racialized sexist stereotypes. By sexualizing Asian women, you weaken their potential. You do not reinforce their potential to be great at what they do, right? You create a idealization of what Asian women are supposed to be. Now moving to chapter 10, we're going to talk about work. Uh, the first topic is gender discrimination at work. And there are two phenomena that I want to discuss in order to understand this gender discrimination at work. The first one is the glass ceiling. The glass ceiling is the idea that there is an invisible wall that is keeping all these women from achieving everything that they want in life. This wall, it's keeping them away from succeeding, from moving to a next step. Um, and the second phenomenon, which is also very similar to the glass ceiling, is a sticky floor. A sticky floor is more related to women that are in low positions, right? The sticky floor explains that someone that is in a lower position will remain in this lower position, right? This sticky floor um, limits the person, in this case the woman, to keep achieving more and more things in life in order to get to being in charge of something else, something more important, to be recognized, right? So these limitations are easily seen um, in a workplace and oftenly experienced by women. Um, and Dr. Bumanes were is clearly illustrates that, right? If she wasn't a Asian woman, if she wasn't a Asian American doctor, she would definitely had not experienced someone spitting on her face, right? um, she, she she faced a discrimination because of her race and because of this gender. And even though she's an unrecognized doctor, she has been working for years away from her family, dedicating her best in order to succeed in her life, in order to save lives, even though she's not recognized as the way that she was supposed to be, as the way that she deserves to be. The second and last thing from chapter 10 is a stealth revolution. So let's think about all the achievements that women have gotten in the past decades, right? Women have gotten degrees, masters, bachelors, doctors. They've left their housewife life in order to dedicate themselves to work for a company, right? To receive a remuneration for their job, which is very important, which is incredible, which is a big step for us women. However, this process is not happening in a continuous speed. Okay, so woman has achieved a lot of things in life, but this process it's frozen. Um, we cannot move forward from where we are. Um, this is called a stealth revolution. In fact, I wanted to read a small sentence mentioned by Dr. Bouvane's work in her article, which says that in 2018, about 90% of almost 800,000 doctors surveyed by the Association of American Medical Colleges who reported their race and their gender in the identifying as Asian American women. And Black and Hispanic women doctors were even more scarce, um, are at about 3% each. Therefore, although this woman work, this woman give the best, this woman have their degrees, it does not mean that they will achieve the same thing that a man can achieve. That they don't that they have the same possibilities that a man have, right? And for Dr. Bhuvanesh work is even harder because she's not only a woman working as a doctor, but she's an American Asian woman working as a doctor. So she had to face different stereotypes, different bias, different types of discrimination towards her because of her history, because of where he comes from. Um, with these issues that I mentioned, which are only a few comparing to the many issues that a woman from different races faces in her everyday life at work, I thought about different actions that we can take in the workplace in order to manage this issue better, and maybe one day finally win against these issues, right? So the first one is equal pay laws. There are many laws which reinforces the equality between genders, right? For them to receive the same amount of payment. However, many companies simply ignore the fact that this laws are out there in order to defend women, and they keep paying less for women and more for men. So it's important, if you're an employee and if you know that something's going on, that something seems unfair in a workplace, please make sure, be aware that you are totally um, aware of what is going on, and if the payment right, if the payment it's right, if it follows the laws, right? The second is diversity in hiring. I think that it's very important to hire not the same amount, but a similar amount of men and women. I'm not saying that we should only hire women and leave men in their house working. No. I think that this diversity, I think that working together, this diversity between genders, it's really important to manage the stereotypes, to decrease the stereotypes, the wrong beliefs that we have about genders, about inequalities, right? The third thing is create a friendly and comfortable atmosphere between employees and their recognition. Um, in the case of this doctor, she mentioned that she has been working a lot away from her family in a really, really hard condition, and still is that enough for some people to recognize her job, her professionalism. So I think that when a company, when us we recognize people for what they do, for their capacity of always doing more, doing better, for trying harder, it really makes a significant difference in their life. So companies should companies must recognize these employees and give them the right price, give them what they deserve for who they are. Last but not least, promote support for workers with children. I believe, and after researching many places, I found out that one of the main reasons that keep women away from the workplace is having a family, right? Um, it's very natural. It's very easy to see that woman used to stay at the house when they have a kid, while the man bring the income to the house. And a way to decrease this inequality, right? It's promoting support, not only for mothers, but also for fathers. When the father has the support, therefore, like you can stay at home taking care of your kids while your wife is working. That's perfect. That reinforces the ability to work for women to work more and to be recognized the same way that a man is. So I ended my presentation. I really hope you liked, and I really hope that regardless if you're a man or if you're a woman, that you will apply everything you learned today in this presentation into your workplace, your personal life, and I really hope that it makes a difference for you somehow. Thank you.